Everyone loves a good twist ending, and as filmmaking gets on, they're becoming more and more common. But this film is probably the first film that started the twist ending. But what's wrong with the film? My name's Berryman, and let's find out with 10 things wrong with. The Usual Suspects is a 1995 neo-noir mystery thriller film directed by Bryan Singer. The film tells the story of Roger Kint, also known as Verbal, a small-time con man who actually survived a shootout on a boat, but he's interrogated by the police, so he tells his story of how him and 4 other companions became on that boat. When the film was released, it only got released in a few theatres, but because the reviews were so great, it was released nationwide. Everyone loves this film. But because I'm a nitpicking a-hole, here are 10 things wrong with The Usual Suspects. Number 10, saying Soze. One of the biggest elements of this film is actually Keyser Söze. I know I didn't say it in the introduction, but still, it is the biggest plot point of this film is who is Keyser Söze. Now, it was so big of a secret that the actors didn't actually find out until they watched the film. That's great filmmaking. However, if you watch it, every single actor actually says Soze differently. There's Soze, Soze, Soze. There are so many, every actor says it differently. How do you say Soze? I'll probably get it wrong, aren't I? Number 9, forgetting scenes. Bryan Singer is a fantastic director. Let's face it, he brought us some of the best X-Men films. So would you expect a director of his caliber forgetting to do things? Yeah, he did. He forgot to actually do a reveal scene of who is Keyser Söze. They had to get some people back to film it, which is why you don't actually see any scenes with the real Keyser Söze being Keyser Söze. It's because they forgot to film it. Whoops! Number 8, leaving evidence. So during the gang's second heist, the one where they actually finally get around to actually killing people, one of them has got a gun in his hand. He opens the car door with no gloves on. Bear in mind, this character is also an ex-cop. Yeah, you're going to jail on that one. Isn't that robbing rule 101? Wear gloves. Number 7, magic gloves. Talking about gloves, at the very beginning of this film, probably one of the only scenes in this film that's probably accurate, and more on that later, Keyser Söze turns up, got no gloves on, lights a fag, having a quick chat. Then when he goes and kills him, he's wearing gloves. Where did the gloves come from? I know I've just said it's rule 101, but either wear them or don't wear them, just don't have them magically appear out of nowhere. Number 6, wrong floor. While the gang are actually trying to interrogate the lawyer, I'm deliberately not saying names in this because it adds to the film, it's quite unfair. But I'll carry on. As they're trying to interrogate the lawyer, they go take him into the lift and say floor 20. And then they come out on a floor that's quite obviously not the 20th floor. I'll probably say the 50th. You're in one of the highest floors in that building because you have beautiful landscapes, beautiful scenery. And yeah, you're not on the 20th floor because if you looked out on the 20th floor, you'd just be seeing other buildings or tops of other buildings, not towering over them. Number 5, eyebrows. I know I have caterpillar eyebrows, so it's very bad that I'm picking this up. But one of the survivors from the boat scene at the beginning, he is burnt beyond recognition, except for his eyebrow. Anyone notice his eyebrow's perfectly fine? Seriously, the eyebrow would have been melted off completely, but it's still there. It's like the effects department forgot to do his eyebrows. I mean, later on in the film, it's covered over with bandages, but the first time you see him, no, his eyebrow's there. Number 4, missing actor. On some of the film posters, which I've got in the Berry Telly right now, you can see the 5 main characters. And smack in the middle is Benicio del Toro. I think I've said his name wrong and I apologise. But look closely at this poster. Seriously, look closer at this poster. Can you see his name anywhere? No. So you've put him right in the smack of the middle of this poster, forefront and centre. He probably has one of the best characters in this film, but that's because he didn't actually care, because he was only there to be killed, so he just went OTT. It made him stand out, it made him brilliant, and you didn't put his name on the poster. Yet you put him in the middle of the poster. Sometimes marketing departments need shooting. Number 3, missing arrests. So early on in this film, you see everyone getting arrested. All 5 of the main characters being arrested. No, you don't. Verbal does not get arrested. Now, granted, this could be a clue of who he actually is, but you see everyone else being arrested. Why not Verbal? Why was his arrest scene? What was he actually arrested for? Anybody? No, didn't think so. Number 2, the whole film is a lie. Right, I'm going to be honest with you here. This is a very contradictory point, because let's face it, this whole film is told from Verbal's point of view, which means the entire film is a lie. Now, what's the best way to hide a lie? Well, you hide it inside truth. So that, granted, there is going to be a lot of truth in this film, but it's told from his perspective, which means it's all a lie. Now, watching it from a cinematic point of view, it's great. It's great cinema, it's great viewing, and I'm not going to knock that. But because I'm a nitpicking a-hole, it's still wrong. You can see I'm conflicted. I'm even recording this. I am conflicted. It's a good thing, but it's a wrong good thing. You've done the wrong thing for the right reason. I'm just getting tongue-tied here. Next point. Number 1, Kevin Spacey. Okay, jokes aside, we all know what's going on with Kevin Spacey. Unfortunately, because of Kevin Spacey's extracurricular activities, shall we say, a lot of the films he has been in are now sort of blacklisted, which is a shame. This is a brilliant film. It's great storytelling. Granted, there's so many silly little mistakes, but it's a shame that this film is now slightly blacklisted. I mean, it was actually quite hard to get a copy of this film. I had to borrow a DVD off a friend, and unfortunately my computer doesn't have a DVD player. It was actually very difficult to get hold of this film. This film's sort of been scrubbed off the face of the earth. Now, I understand why, but I don't think this film should be punished because of one man's actions. It's not Bryan Singer's fault, it's not the rest of the cast's fault. It's his actions only. This film shouldn't be made to suffer, especially a film like this. Final thoughts. So what do I think of this film? Now, when I watch a film, one of the things I always look out for, I don't always say it in the videos, but one thing I always look out for is, does this film keep my attention? Well, yes, it does. That's the best thing about this film. It does keep your attention. You are constantly guessing. You are constantly thinking about what's going on. Yes, you have to think. You have to pay attention to every single scene. Because if you watch it, there are so many little things to say who Keyser Söze really is. Seriously, watch it. Every time his name is mentioned, the camera's actually on Verbal. Every single time. There are so many little meta Easter eggs about this film. You have to watch it. You don't pay attention, you will miss it. And that I love. It's not OTT, which then I'll be moaning about. It's brilliant. Now, you can tell this was a low budget film. It wasn't expected to do as well as what it did. Now, a lot of the success of this film is down to Kevin Spacey and also Del Toro's OTT acting, which he pulled off perfectly. It was a pet project. It's just more films of friends having a laugh. And sometimes films like that actually work. And this film is a prime example of it. Granted, it's not Oscar worthy. It's not going to be an epic, but it's a good film nonetheless. It's just a shame it's very difficult to get copies nowadays. But it's still an enjoyable film. It takes you along for the ride. I mean, this is how well the film was. The actors have the script, they filmed it, and they didn't know what was going on. In fact, Gabriel Byrne, when he came out of the premiere, he was actually asked, so who is Keyser Söze? And his response was, well, up until I saw it, I thought I was. Every main character thought they were Keyser Söze. That's how good this film is. And it is brilliant. What am I going to rank it out of 10? This is actually quite a difficult one because it's a great, fantastic film, but it's not amazing. But it is, but it isn't. Yes, I'm confused. So, I'm torn. So, I've decided. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 berries. It's a good film that's now unfortunately overshadowed, which is a shame. It's a shame that films have to suffer, and I don't like that about modern filmology. Are we going to delete every film that Harvey Weinstein will ever produced? Are we going to remove every film Kevin Spacey has ever been in? He has been in some appalling films that could disappear, but he has been in some great films as well. It's just a shame that actors' personal lives now affect other people, and that is wrong. Anyway, enough about this film. What did you think of this film? Write your comments and your score in the comments below. I know I've ranted on about how good and bad this film is this week, but on to next week. Now, I had a request to do Avengers Endgame, but you can't do Endgame without doing Infinity War. So next week isn't a requested video. This was. That isn't. I'm going to do Infinity War just so I can prepare to doing Endgame. So come back next Sunday. Take care. Bye-bye.